This is where I am embarrassed. This is where I say it is disgraceful and shameful that the government's response is not that there is no killing of Christians. The response is that no, America, you did not even say it as bad as it is. It's not only Christians that are being killed. Even Muslims are killed. Even traditional believers are killed. Even everybody is killed. What a shame.
Welcome to Niger Unfiltered. Kenneth Okonkwo is our guest. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate.
Yes, of course, I'm starting that on behalf of Nigerians who are excited to celebrate you and their resilience on your birthday. How do you personally feel about the recognition you are receiving from Nigerians?
You know, I've always said that the basis of my greatness or my being a hero in anything is based on the love of the people. You know, I came up during the Nollywood time. As a matter of fact, there was no Nollywood when we came in. I just moved in and did my first movie, Living in Bondage, and the whole world recognized it as being perfect. The whole Nigeria and Nigerians, irrespective of religion, tribe, language, recognized that movie. And they patronized it. The first part that we brought out was not subtitled, raw Igbo. But they still loved it so much that they insisted we must subtitle it so that they will hear everything. And that showed me that Nigerians are simply looking for spirit of excellence. They don't care your tribe, they don't care your religion. We are not a religiously bigoted nation or tribalistic nation. No. It's our leaders that are trying to exploit these fault lines in order to keep us divided to rule us. And living in bondage taught me that. So the love of people is the basis of whatever greatness I would lay my hands on. And that's why you see me loving people every time, every day, thanking them for their support and prayers, and saying within me that I am going to do whatever I would do in my life to make the lives of Nigerians and the people that have made me a hero, I will make their lives comfortable for in any way and in any position I find myself. I'll tell you something that will surprise you. One day in my closet, I had something like an inspiration, a voice. And the voice was like, do you know why I'm making you? And I was surprised. He said, so that you will make the people. That's why you see me. My loyalty has always been to the people. Everything I am doing, even in politics, my loyalty is to the people. My loyalty is to the truth. My loyalty is to the country, not to any politician or any political party. So I use this opportunity of my birthday to say thank you to the people around the world, especially Nigerians, for your support and prayers. You have been wonderful. I do not take it for granted. I love you all and will continue to love you forever. Thank you. I cherish it.
Thank you very much. Maybe you need to use this opportunity of your birthday to share with your followers your modest journey and how you have evolved as a politician.
Well, like I said, the basis, the foundation of my love for politics is that I have been helping people, doing the little philanthropy that I can in my town, anywhere I go to, and I love to keep it private. I do not love to keep it public because my religion says let your left hand not know what your right hand is doing, so that your Father that sees in secret will reward you openly. So I'm not the type that is very loud as to the philanthropy that I carry on. But then I started having the inspiration that there is a limit to what you can do as an individual. If you love the people, there is nothing wrong in joining the political field so that you will be able to be placed in a better position to influence what will be good for them. So when you are in politics, you'll be able to influence governmental decisions to favor the people. You'll be able to influence policies that will conduce to the welfare of the people. So I love politics because democracy is the government for the people. If we can tell our democracy to counter for the security and welfare of Nigerians, then we are sure to build the most powerful nation on earth. This country has whatever it takes to be the best in the world. We are blessed in material and in human resources. So politics gives you the power, it gives you the exposure to be able to help people more if your intention is to help the people. So my journey towards politics, I've been a public affairs analyst, and then being politically inclined. I've been in politics from day one in the university days. I remember I was in politics, and throughout our 4 years in the university, we were protesting against every illicit action of the government that was against the welfare of the people. I was in University of Nigeria, and we did not graduate with other universities in 1989 because of our insistence that the government must be for the welfare of the people. Well, rather than our going for our youth service after June, we went around November. That was why in 1989, whoever graduated from University of Nigeria, as the university, went for the second version of the NYSC, which will take you 2 weeks or thereabout, because of our radical nature in opposing regimes that are not organized for the welfare of the people. So I've been very politically sensitive. But coming into, as I grew up, when I finished my law profession, when I graduated and was called to bar, and I decided it is time to go into politics, as in being a participant. I have been very politically active from 1999, but sometime after 2011, then I started becoming very active. I offered myself the first time in 2014 as in 2015, because you do your primary like a year before, to be the House of Representatives member representing Nsukka Igboeze South Federal Constituency. But when I saw how things were happening, as a matter of fact, they just organized a meeting one day and told all of us to step down for somebody. And I'm like, excuse me, is it the way you guys do this? I'm not willing to do this. It will not happen. And it didn't happen. But I withdrew. But I made sure that we are not compelled to step down. As in, because one person just called everybody and said, stakeholders meeting, you must step down. So I said, no. Democracy means people should be allowed to contest. But after that day, I personally said, I'm not going to participate in this charade. But I spoke my mind all the same. When I wanted to be governor in 2019, it was absurd. When I saw what they were doing, I refused to contest for it. So I've not actually contested for any election. I have simply aspired to be an elected member. So now that I saw the level of the decadence in the electoral process in Nigeria, I decided that the best thing, since I would not compromise my principles, is to stay in politics, to fight against all these ills, and see how I can enthrone men that I'm convinced that have the capacity, working together with them to ensure that we have a good president, because we are operating a powerful presidential system where all the executive powers of the federation is vested in the president. So if we get our presidency correct, we would have gotten Nigeria correct. So I said, okay, I'm going to spend my time, my resources, my energy, my knowledge to ensure that Nigerians enthrone a fair-minded, knowledgeable, God-fearing president who will now use all those powers to build the institutions that we need to excel in this world. That is what I'm committed to, and that's what probably I'll still do in 2027. I did it in 2023, and in 2027, that's exactly what I will still do. So this is the little journey that I have had. I've been a presidential spokesperson when I was in Labour Party. I'm now a member of the National Working Committee in the capacity of National Ex Officio of the African Democratic Congress, which is now the only opposition party, which by the grace of God will form the next government in 2027 in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, by the grace of God.
All right. U.S. President Donald Trump has designated Nigeria a country of particular concern. What are the implications for Nigeria?
Being designated as the country of particular concern by the United States of America means that the U.S. has determined that the country is engaging in or tolerating specifically severe violations of religious freedom. This designation power is gotten from the International Religious Freedom Act of 1998, where the Department of State is empowered to monitor and report on annual basis the infringements of religious freedom worldwide. Then the Secretary of State now has the power to designate some countries based on the findings of the annual report as countries of particular concern. I think this should be in section 402B1A of the IRFA of the United States of America. Now, these are the consequences. If America finds that you are now a country of particular concern, they can go into direct engagement. In other words, negotiations. In other words, going to agreements on how you will improve the religious freedom conditions that they will give you. They can go into diplomatic sanctions. That means degrading, as a way of protest, the relationship you have with the United States. Maybe sacking your ambassador, withdrawing ambassadors, degrading that relationship. They can go into economic sanctions, which is limiting aid or limiting trade. And that's why you saw Donald Trump at the first time saying Nigeria is designated as a country of particular concern, and this may lead to the sanctions, this may lead to cutting off aids. Now, here is the point. How did Nigeria get to this point? Because America was saying that there is a genocide and the massacring of Christians in Nigeria. This is where I am embarrassed. This is where I say it is disgraceful and shameful that the government's response is not that there is no killing of Christians. The response is that, no, America, you did not even say it as bad as it is. It's not only Christians that are being killed. Even Muslims are killed. Even traditional believers are killed. Even everybody is killed. What a shame that a country, that a government whose duty is to secure the lives and welfare of people are given as a defense that not only Christians are being killed, but Muslims, everybody is being killed also. What an international admission of failure. on the basic duty of government. So when Donald Trump says, and when Americans say Christians are killed, the government has practically admitted it. That is failure. Because no one person is supposed to be killed in a country without account. One person, the death of one person, is 100% loss to the family. You can't have two fathers. When your father is dead, he's dead forever. When your son, at times your only child, is dead, he's dead forever. The finality of death should make our government and our politicians and our leaders to be ashamed that what they are saying is not that Christians are not being killed. Meaning, they're actually telling Americans, sorry, you're not even saying it as bad as it is. What a shame. So, the most important thing is that we have security problems, security challenges, and even the government is not denying it. So, if America says Christians are killed, they are saying the truth. The issue of genocide, it depends on who is analyzing it. So you just can't wish it away. Why did I say that? Did you not hear people from Benue saying that some foreign invaders, and I'm talking about the governor of Benue State, Governor Alia, that this massacre of his people are perpetrated by terrorists who are mostly foreign invaders with the aim of sacking the people from their land, eliminating the people from their land in order to take over their land. What does that mean? So Nigeria is a vast country. So if you want to talk about whether there's genocide or not, it depends on who is talking about it. If you go to Plateau, they're shouting the same thing. That they want to kill everybody, sack everybody from their land in order to take over their land. So what is that? Having said that, I agree that American government should sanction these corrupt politicians, those that have refused to give us free, fair, credible election, those that are orchestrating violence and rigging during election, those that are stealing Nigerian money and housing it abroad, which these foreign governments know, those that are engaging in sponsoring these terrorists, because some people are sponsoring these terrorists. UAE gave us a list one time. Jonathan said he has Boko Haram members in his cabinet. Abacha said if any insecurity lasts more than 24 hours, the government is aware of it. If there is no complicity of people in government, this will not last from 2009. So what I'm saying is that American government has a point. And then Tinubu's incompetence in the way he's handling international relations is even what made this issue worse. The last time I granted an interview to you people, I pleaded with President Bola Tinubu. I said, please, sir, be careful the way you deal with Donald Trump. You can't wish him away. Even in your village, if you have the strongest man and he happens to be behaving in a funny way, you are still needed to use wisdom to know how to deal with him. I pleaded with him. And look at, Donald Trump fired the first tweet, designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern. And then Tinubu fired his own tweet. No, you don't do that with Donald Trump. Not that you're scared of him, no. But you have to check the psychology of a particular leader and evolve diplomatic and wise way to follow him. My master's is on international law and diplomacy. And I can always tell you that Tinubu, when you people asked me the last time, what is my rating of the international relations of Nigeria on that Tinubu, I say it's a disaster. You're now seeing what I saw. How can you, more than 200 million persons have been pleading with you, President Bola Tinubu, appoint qualified ambassadors to represent Nigeria, especially in these major countries? No. You want to do only the things you want. And you know, because of the condition of your body and mind, at times you do not take reasonable decision. Daniel Bwala, when his brain was still working, because he was the one who said if you enter APC, your brain stops working. When his brain was still working, he described Tinubu's government as a government that has audacity of hypocrisy and hypocrisy of competence. Meaning Tinubu has the audacity to take decisions, but he ends up taking hypocritical decisions, meaning wrong decisions. Meaning that when Tinubu is purporting to be competent, there is no competence in it. It's simply hypocritical. This is the exact word of Daniel Buala when Tinubu decided to choose a fellow Muslim to become his vice president. Now, we are paying for it. Tinubu fired the tweet back to Donald Trump. And I laughed because I knew what was going to come after. When Donald Trump now fired his own threats, threatening the use of force, if need be, what did Tinubu do again? No, let Tinubu fire back, so that it will be fire for fire. When Donald Trump did the first one, if we had a beautiful ambassador, a wonderful, intelligent ambassador, he would have gone through the back door, not coming to fire back, to explain the situation of Nigeria to America and urging America that we need the help of everybody, including America. Then he fire back. No, Nigeria is not, like I said, shamelessly, with respect, admitting that you have security problems, but everybody is being killed. What a defense. In law, there's what we call general traverse and specific traverse. They will tell you have to specifically traverse every armament that is made against you. Let me give you an example. If they say you stole 500 naira and you say, no, I didn't steal 500 naira, and we leave it at that, you have not said you are not a thief. Because you have not said that you did not steal 400 naira. So you have to say, no, I did not steal 500 naira, and I have not stolen any money at all. Can Nigeria specifically traverse the allegation that Christians are being killed? No, they cannot. They are saying everybody is killed. But the real traverse in law that would have exculpated you is saying, no Christians is being killed. Nobody is being killed at all. And we can't say that. So the issue here is that incompetence of Tinubu. Now the whole Nigeria was begging Tinubu, appoint ambassadors. He refused. A tweet by a foreign president is making him now to consider, watch, within 1 week or so, he will appoint the ambassadors. Telling you that this is a man that is reactionary, has nothing to offer Nigerians except hypocritical leadership style, according to Daniel Buala. He said audacity of hypocrisy and hypocrisy of competence. So when Tinubu purports to be competent, we are seeing the result of his incompetence every day. Right from when he was the chairman of ECOWAS, how ECOWAS became fractured. You now have Association of Sahel region countries. Now when he became the chairman of ECOWAS, he threatened to remove the government of another country within 7 days. Now another country is threatening your own country, so that you will understand how incompetent and unwise for you to threaten another country. Now even Chad is closing our border. What is the extent that we can take from the incompetence of a Tinubu and APC government? So what is happening with America designating us and the way it is being handled is crash. I mean, it is complete display of incompetence of a government and hypocrisy. A government that told you that in August they had made all the revenues that they projected to make within a year, cannot appoint ambassadors, cannot pay them. So Nigeria is now left in the hands of competent leaders. Let Tinubu use cotton wool and close the mouth of all those his purported spokespersons before they talk us into trouble. They don't know nothing. They don't know what they are doing. And let Tinubu stop responding so that people of me, we have men in this country, anyone you want, so that they can respond for us. So what happened is that there is an insecurity problem in Nigeria, which Nigeria should work hard to eliminate completely. You do it through catching the sponsors of, can you imagine, about 15,000 persons have died in one way or the other from terrorist attacks since Tinubu came to power in 2023. Is that not a massacre? 15,000. They should try to get these sponsors, expose them, stop them, whoever they are. Then they should stop playing politics. Can't you see the hand of karma in what is happening? Buhari and Tinubu, they led a delegate to America to report insecurity of Nigeria to America during the Jonathan's regime. Can't you see karma? And now they are screaming, opposition, opposition. Opposition what? Opposition power on there. Opposition.
All right, from all you said.
Now, they should try to increase the morale of the fighting force, increase the boots on ground. A country where the government is awarding one contract for 15 trillion naira, where his family has interest. If that 15 trillion naira had been put into security because of the then need of it, we will be out of this security. Now, since Tinubu came in, I have been begging, let state police be approved. The governor of Zamfara, vowed with the Quran, 2 months he will wipe out insecurity. That he knows where all these people are. And Governor Soludo is actually proving it to be correct with ordinary vigilante. He has destroyed about 60 camps of insecurity, and insecurity in Anambra State, whether you like it or not, has been eliminated to a reasonable extent. Tinubu cannot let him hear this advice. Let him support the creation of state police like yesterday. Because we will talk our own. The opposition will even, because we don't play policy with security, we will even give our own recommendation. Yet this government will not implement it. And they will open their mouth. Opposition. Opposition. Please.
All right. From all you said, obviously you are not satisfied with government's response to what Donald Trump had said. Of course, Anambra State Governor downplayed it, and the FCT minister has described it as the action of opposition parties. They are the ones hyping this over this Christian genocide. What's your take on that?
If Soludo is playing down the death of 15,000 persons from 2023, why did he play up the security challenges in his own state? Why did he have to equip a new fighting force to fight insecurity? He was just playing politics. Anybody who plays down on the death of even one person would report to God. If Soludo himself had been killed, would he be governor? And for saying opposition, dumb, that's a dumb reasoning. When people say, this insecurity did not start with Tinubu, that's an annoying submission, very annoying. Because the reason he contested to be president is to be able to stop it. And he promised he will stop it. If he didn't start with you and you can't handle it, what was your business coming to contest to be president? We were not looking for a pope. We were not looking for a pastor. We were not looking for an imam. We were looking for a leader who will give us security and welfare. And he said, we danced for it. We begged for it. And nobody should pity us because we said we would do it. So let him do it. I don't like to hear all these dumb excuses. Security has been on since what? So, if you can't handle it, why did you contest to be president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces? Armed forces. All the armed forces are in your command. You can't handle it, resign. Let another person that can handle it come in. Excuses and successes do not go together. Any leader that is used to giving excuses by whatever name called is a failure. Touch them in economy. They'll give excuses. They inherited rotten economy. They inherited bad, dead economy. Excuses. talk security. It did not start with us. What are you doing sitting there? The only thing we want to hear is results. And that is what we're expecting. Opposition has no business. Do you see this government as a government that spares opposition? When they were doing rumor, when they were having rumor of Q or rumor of this, like I said, it's a rumor. The governors that they were suspecting that we are part of it, are they part of the opposition? The rumor, the ones that are rumor, I said, are APC members. No opposition can afford to enter into insecurity to do anything to the government, because the opposition person knows the consequences. Because if you use force, you are a member of the opposition, you won't be spared. So it's only the ruling party, like Jonathan said, that there are some Boko Haram in my cabinet. It's only the ruling party that has the solution, because they have the security reports. If any member of the opposition is involved, let the person pay the price. If any member of the ruling party is involved, let the person pay the price, and we'll have a safe country. Excuses are dumb, because successes and excuses will never go together.
You've been very vocal over the issue of creation of Adada states from the southeast. What informed this advocacy, and what are the benefits you think are derivable from it?
Well, first of all, the National Assembly was very clear in their declaration that a state should be created from the southeast. Southeast is a geopolitical zone. It's not a tribe. So, when people talk about southeast, there are 5 states in the southeast: Anambra, Enugu, Imo, Abia, and Ebonyi. So, by the declaration of the National Assembly, any state that should be created must be created from these 5 states. And that is because of the injustice meted out to the southeast people, where they have 5 states, and there are some geopolitical zones that have 7 states. So any area not part of southeast is not qualified at all to even be considered. And let me sound this note of caution. If by any means the National Assembly creates another state from another geopolitical zone, they have increased the agitation. Because you have increased the number of states in that geopolitical zone to be 7, and the southeast will still remain 5. And they will continue to agitate against marginalization. So what the National Assembly said is a state should be created from the southeast. And it is not from the south-south. There is a disconnect here. When people are talking about Anioma State, with respect, Anioma State are Igbos. And Igbos have always been very proud of all their brothers in all parts of the world. The Igbos are spread in all parts of the world. That's why I always say that the world is the only country that is big enough to accommodate the Igbo man. But here is the point. Anioma State is in the south, not in the southeast, but they are Igbo. So if you create Anioma State and there is nobody from the southeast that is against the creation of Anioma State, but it has to be created from the south, not from the southeast. If you create Anioma State, you have made the numbers of the state in the south to be 7, and that will increase the agitation. And there is no way legally you can say that Anioma State can be created from the southeast, because that will need boundary adjustment. The states have been settled. The geopolitical zones have been recognized by law. In the Federal Character Commission, you will see the geopolitical zones. And Anioma is in the south. So Anioma is not qualified by law to be created from the southeast. So legally and unconstitutionally, they are not part of the southeast. So they cannot be talking about being created from the southeast. But here is the point. And this is what I'm telling my Anioma brothers. The Igbos have never, ever, there's no place we have ever denied Anioma people. They have even been the ones who have confessed that maybe because of the war and all those things, at times they deny that they are not Igbo. So we love them, we cherish them. I love them and cherish them. But this is what happened, which they have not taken note of. Every majority tribe in Nigeria has that advantage that they are spread in about 3 geopolitical zones. Every majority tribe. And they use it for their own advantage. The Hausa Fulani is spread in the northwest, northeast, and north central. So meaning any president from Hausa Fulani extraction can actually appoint Hausa Fulani from the northwest, from the northeast, from the north central, and still be arguing that it's from different geopolitical zones. The Yoruba are spread southwest, north, and even a little bit of south-south. So a president of Yoruba extraction can actually appoint Yoruba from the southwest, from the north, and from the south, and still argue that no, he's appointing people from different geopolitical zones. Ndi Igbo too, as a majority tribe, are spread in the southeast, in the south, and in the north. So any attempt by anybody to say, let the whole Igbo come into one zone, to become one geopolitical zone, you are actually diminishing in the Igbo. You are actually removing that advantage you have as a majority tribe. Because any Igbo president will not have the opportunity to appoint Igbos from the 3 geopolitical zones and still claim he has not offended the Federal Character Commission. Look at what Tinubu is doing. Apart from the preponderance of the southwest people he has appointed, he has now shifted. When people started crying so much, he has now shifted to north central, and he's still appointing the Yoruba, but claiming they are from the north. Odulari, NMPC chairman, Amupito, INEC chairman, the Attorney General of the Federation. These are from north, but these are all Yoruba. Now you have the Chief of Defense Staff. Now you have the Chief of Army Staff. But they will tell you, no, the Chief of Army Staff is from the north. Odulari is from the north. Amupito is from the north. The Attorney General of the Federation, Latif Fagbemi, is from the north. But they are all Yoruba. That is the advantage that majority tribe have. The minorities do not have it. So when the Anioma people are actually saying they should collapse into South, they are not helping the Igbo nation. What they should be doing is to fight for Anioma state to be created from south, so that if there is any Igbo, any president of Nigeria from Igbo extraction, he can actually appoint an Igbo person from southeast, appoint an Igbo person from south, appoint an Igbo person from the north, because the Igbos are in Kogi, they are in Benue. And he would have not offended the Federal Character Commission. So you see, ignorance, I'm sorry to use the word, but lack of knowledge. So my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. If you say you want to create a number from the southeast, if you say it's the 6th state, no, the original 5 states are still remaining 5, and you have diminished in the Igbo. But if you create one more state in the southeast, it will be 6. And if we now have a Anioma state from south, we have 7, as in Igbo nation. So please, stop this issue about you want to create a Anioma state from the southeast. You are actually compacting us, diminishing us, not expanding us. What we need is expansion. I would want the Igbo to be created from every state. So that's another point. Let's talk about viability. A lot of people do not know that the Nsukka land is the most viable area in the whole Nigeria to stand as a state. First of all, what did the budget office say recently? They said that the Enugu state is the most viable state now that can survive without FAC. It is there. Adada state is more than 51% of Enugu state. Adada state alone. Made up of Ozo1, made up of Ishuzo, made up of Igbo-Etiti, made up of Nsukka, made up of Igbo-Eze North, Igbo-Eze South, made up of Udenu. And then, you can still create other local governments, if you wish to join from other states, with the capital in Nsukka. Let's talk about viability. First and foremost, a nation succeeds not because of what lies beneath their feet, but what lies in their head. Enugu State has been pivotal in the education of the entire Nigeria, and I'm talking about Adada State this time, by the establishment of University of Nigeria, which Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe insisted must be in Nsukka land because of the viability of Nsukka land, in terms of the weather, in terms of the fertility of the soil, in terms of the peaceful environment, in terms of the accommodation by the people, so that the university will never have any trouble. Until today, the university never had any trouble with the community. What a record. Till today, everything is always sorted out peacefully. So the ingenuity that University of Nigeria has given to the whole Nigeria, the whole Igbo land, including Nsukka. I am a product of University of Nigeria, and I can take on anybody from any part of the world when it comes to knowledge, to restore the dignity of man. So when you talk about what happens on the head, which area will boast that they have trained people in terms of skill, in terms of academic intelligence, like Nsukka land. That's by the way. When we talk about material resources, a lot of people do not even know. We have oil that is discovered in Nsukka land, and I'm talking about the Dada state, and that is in Iga. If you go to Iga, there are 4 oil wells already established, not tapped. And in Kalago and in Handiago, there is still wells that have been marked. Uranium is now being talked about in a Hamufu. Uranium. Coal in Obolafo. Many that I cannot mention. You'll be talking about that ledger. Has been a term since 500 years that has been talking about smelting iron. You go there, you see it. It is of international repute. More than 500 years. Meaning there is possibility of iron ore deposited there, because they couldn't have gotten iron from another part of the world since 500 years ago. I'm talking about materials. These are oil. I'm talking about solid minerals. The reason these minerals have not been exploited because we've not had a state. We are not landlocked at all. River Adada, people do not even know that when you hear Adada state is a river. Adada itself is a river that joined Omabala, that joined River Niger. At the back of Ogurugu, okay, what separates us and Kogi is a river. And that is why our oil wells, they've been attempting, all the neighboring states, to know whether they will start drilling our oil from their place underground. That is why they've been having problems. That's when you hear Kogi have oil, Anambra have oil, Enugu have oil. It is in Enugu state. It's in Adada. Do I talk about agriculture? Come on, forget it. The honey that I'm using now in my house is from Nsukka land. When we were young, the window we had then was wooden window. So bees come to your window to make oil for you, to make honey for you. So in the morning, you use your finger to collect the honey to lick. We have Okonkwo. When we're going to school, pot of honey. You go there, you run into Okonkwo to be licking honey. I'm talking about land flowing with oil and honey. Do I talk about the fertility of the land without fertilizer? You must have heard about Nsukka. The whole world knows it. Industrialists coming for it because of its aroma, because of its medicinal quality when you take it. Am I talking about rice? Rice is traditional with us as part of our staple. You talk about other rice, because we are in the lower basin. And lower basin means you attract minerals from everywhere. Since the time of Jim Obodo, they use other rice to feed the whole Anambra state, comprising of present Anambra, Enugu, Ebonyi state. Other rice, exportable in commercial quantity. And these things you do without fertilizer. Are you talking about human beings? Our population is more than the population of the rest of Enugu State combined. Are you talking about landmass? There is no area in the whole southeast that has the landmass that Adada State has. So when you talk about the landmass and we are number one, you talk about human resources, whether doctors or professors, or that we are number one. You talk about solid minerals, we are number one. You talk about liquid minerals, we are number one. What are you talking about viability? If you do know the kind of tourist sites we have, talk about the cave in Ichi, as Ibeze South. Caves, oh my God, indescribable. Just wait until they give us Adada State. And you will see that the southeast will be very happy. Nigeria will be very happy, and the whole world will be very happy that there is a state like Adada State in Nsukka land. So when you talk about viability, we are number one. When you talk about intellectual capacity, we are number one. You talk about human resources, we are number one. You talk about land mass, we are number one. You talk about agrarian power, we are number one. You talk about solid minerals, we are number one. So what else? And these things are verifiable. So when you talk about Adada State, it's not one of the. It should be the only state. And Adada State, I was not an originator, I was a joiner. Because when we were born, we started hearing about Adada State. During the time of Jim Obodo, when Jim Obodo comes for campaign, he will promise that Adada State is one of his priority to create it. During Jim, I'm talking about 79, as at that time. So, when you're talking about all these new states that are coming, it was Adada State they would have created instead of Ebonyi. But because of Akani Ibiam, who was the former governor of the eastern region, Abacha had to acquiesce to him. And they made it clear from that time that the next state to be created from the south is Adada State. I'm even surprised that anybody is even offering any alternative. Like I said, Anioma is part of South South, so it's not even part of the constitution and should not even be, because Ndibo wants to expand. So the only option now is Adada State with the capital in Nsukka land. Viability, we are number one in everything. So that's why I am advocating for it.
Okay, let's look. Some persons have said for equity's sake, the Southeast needs an additional state.
Yes.
But there are also
an additional Adada State.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are also insinuations that they might consider other geopolitical zones for one more state.
After.
Where does he also leave the Southeast?
No, that's no.
Short change.
You didn't know. You didn't hear them. They say after giving Southeast one additional state, then if they want to consider the creation of additional states in Nigeria, then every geopolitical zone will now receive one. That means Southeast will receive its own.
Okay.
So it's not, they are not going to go back to, they know the kind of agitation and marginalization, cry of marginalization that the lopsidedness have created. What they are saying, and I really want to thank the Nigerian Federation, to thank Senator Abdul Ningi for moving the motion from Bauchi Central, to thank Honorable Isiaka from Ogun State, Ibrahim Isiaka from Ogun State for seconding it, and to thank Alain Dume for that wonderful statement he made, that this is a long overdue act of justice and fairness. This is the whole Nigeria recognizing the marginalization, recognizing the injustice, and want to redress it. So, thank God they will continue in that line to create Adada State with the capital in Nsukka, the university town.
All right, let's look at what unique role do you think the Southeast people can play as we approach 2027 to be able to fit into the Nigerian power dynamics?
You know, the problem with Southeast has always been lack of strategy. Any majority tribe in a country that is crying about marginalization is because they have not employed wisdom and tact. In the First Republic, the Yoruba was suffering the same thing, and they were crying marginalization, but they wisened up. If you check, Abiola had never been he had never actually had the support of the Southwest in all his political dealings, because he has always known that aligning with the Nigerian Federation is better than isolating yourself. That was why in June 12, in the Second Republic, Abiola was MPN. But eventually, they came to understand what he was doing. In the June 12, then he has built alliances, he has collaborated with all parts of Nigeria. And in June 12, he won. That is what the Igbo should be doing. They should emphasize cohesion among themselves and collaboration with other people. They should check their interest in whatever they are doing. In this present political alignment, if you say you want to support a Tinubu, how do you place the Igbo there? We'll be talking about 2039 before an Igbo man will be qualified to be president. That is the wisdom a Tinubu has above Ndi Igbo. And a lot of Ndi Igbo are moving in the name of defection. Sorry for you. And you're crying about marginalization. A president that cannot even give you the minister that is due for you. Now we have been reduced to one minister, one substantive minister. And then you are saying you want to align with him. If the Yoruba under Tinubu are suffering what we are suffering from the hand of Tinubu, will Tinubu lead the Yoruba to align with us? Tinubu did it before. He led the Yoruba against a Goodluck Jonathan because he himself wanted to be president. Then Goodluck Jonathan did not do 8 years. You know, when they talk about this hypocrisy of 8 years now, you will see the hypocrisy. Tinubu led the Yoruba, joined with the North, against a Goodluck Jonathan that has not done 8 years. And they removed him. Why? Because he knew that if he's able to remove a Goodluck Jonathan, a Yoruba man will be vice president. And in the next 8 years will be president. Now, if Ndi Igbo comes and become as wise in 2027 and align with the North, and if there is a good agreement, they have the power to present president or vice in 2027, at least vice. And if we're able to remove Tinubu like he removed Jonathan, even if it is vice we can still get the president. But even if it is the vice, we'll be in Aso Rock. Today, the first 5 in Nigeria, no Igbo man is there. President, vice, Senate president, speaker, deputy Senate president. First 5 in Nigeria. Is that not blasphemous? Throughout everything Tinubu has ever led, the Igbos are not considered. Right from 2015. From 2015, Igbo has not come within the first 4. From 2015, within the first 4. No president, no vice, no senior president, no speaker. And somebody is coming to preach to me saying 8 years. No, sorry. Every policy is local. In 2027, if Ndi Igbo should be wise, they will make an alignment that will remove a Tinubu so that they will either be president or vice. If we are vice, because what I am preaching is that in ADC, whoever wants to come in, whether South or not, will commit to 1 term. To ensure the justice of 8 years is not defiled. So that Ndi Igbo, by 2031, will still be eligible to contest for the presidency if they miss it in 2027, which we are eligible to contest if we are not doing this foolish calculation of saying you want to go to Tinubu. Will Tinubu come to us if we were in the same position? Rotation has been done. Because in 2023, power has rotated from the north to the south. That has been done. The term of office of a president is 4 years, not 8 years. And this has been established because when Umaru Yar'Adua died, the north was not allowed to do 8 years. When Goodluck Jonathan came, he did only 1 term. And Tinubu was instrumental to the downfall of Goodluck Jonathan. So what are we saying? As Onyibo, as somebody from Southeast, as a Nigerian from Southeast extraction, I know that it will benefit my people more if they align with other tribes to remove Tinubu. And then we come in 2027, president or vice. And in 2031, by the grace of God, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So Ndi Igbo should strategize and be wise. They should talk about their interest. There's nothing like, let me tell you, every policy is local, policy about interest. There's nothing like tribalism in this. I said Tinubu did it. If we had free, fair, credible elections in this country, nobody would defect. Not one person. Because they know that the people are not with APC. They know that the people are not with Tinubu. But they have calculated that it is not the people that decide who governs them in Nigeria, because we don't have free and fair election. That it is the government in power that uses the instrumentality of the state to impose anybody they like. So now that Tinubu is in power, they believe that they need him to use the federal might to ensure they are being in power. So it is one about self-preservation. Then secondly, it is so that their sins will be forgiven. Because once you get into APC, your sins are forgiven. Remember that in Delta State, EFCC, they were taking one person every week from the Delta government, including the former governor. They invited him. After they declared for APC, how many persons have been taken from Delta State since then? None. Their sins have been forgiven, or at least put in abeyance. So the governors are defective for two reasons: self-preservation and so that their sins will be forgiven. Because there is no saint amongst all of them. Not for any reason that has to do with security and welfare. Look at now, the whole international community is saying that people are being killed, massacred in Nigeria. So which welfare? Look at the economy in tatters. And they'll be reeling out very funny statistics that has nothing. You know what George Sylvester said? When a nation's growth rises on paper and the people sink in hunger, that is not progress. That is polished poverty, wearing the mask of statistics. So all those statistics that are being reeled out, when people are still wallowing in greater hunger and hardship, that's not progress. That is polished. They are polishing the poverty, suffering and smiling in the name of statistics. So whatever statistics these people are reeling out, as long as it's not translating to the welfare and security of the people, they are fictitious, fake, annoying, and should be disregarded.
Okay, let's look at the fate of the opposition. In the light of the gale of defections and, of course, all that we've been seeing happening with the oppositions, despite the denial about sliding into one-party state or not, are you probably worried that we might be going to 2027 elections without a viable opposition?
Sorry, we already have a viable opposition. The African Democratic Congress is settled. Look at our formation. From the north central, from the southeast, from the south, from the southwest. And Aregbe Shola, Rotimi, Kenneth Okonkwo, and Atiku Abubakar, Tambua, David Mark. I just mentioned from the 6 geopolitical zones. Powerful people in ADC.
True, but not in control of your states.
They are in solid control of their states. ADC of the new one was just recognized September 10th. That was when INEC put us in their register. That's when we legally have the power to do something as a political party. And we have just lasted for 1 month plus. And you can see, the whole Nigerians now have realized that PDP and LP are dead. When I talk, I don't talk politics. I don't play politics with facts. I don't play politics with law. That's why they call me a public affairs analyst. I'm a technocrat. When I told Nigerians that PDP and LP, we are dead, they can now see that I wasn't jiving. PDP itself said they are now a corpse. Then they said they are now a carcass. They've called themselves undertakers. And they want to go and bury PDP. Let me warn any candidate, any aspirant that wants to collect any form from PDP, don't say Kenneth Okonkwo did not tell you. You may not contest the next election. Because PDP, as it stands now, The national chairman and national secretary do not even agree on signing notice of meeting. And as you can see, the national secretary has suspended the national chairman, and national chairman has suspended the national secretary. So that division, which the constitution recognized, that gives a party the right to defect, has arisen in PDP. Because the definition by Supreme Court that it must be such that the party has become paralyzed and cannot function from the national level. And that is what is happening now. PDP Wadata Plaza has been taken over by thugs and gangs. And the national chairman and national secretary cannot agree. Meaning, any candidate that is brought by the national chairman, the national secretary will not sign. Any candidate that is brought by the national secretary, the national chairman will not sign. And they say that national chairman and secretary should sign these things. So as PDP stands now, they cannot operate. And with this court judgment that said every party must be held accountable to their constitution, which I agree. Because anytime an organization is doing something outside their constitution, that's anarchy. It's against the rule of law. So I agree that the courts have the right to hold every party accountable to their own constitution, not to courts or to their own. The constitution made it clear that parties should, in their own constitution and rules, make provision for democratic election of posts. So anytime they are not flourishing internal democracy, why do you think I keep insisting on internal democracy by parties? The courts should have the duty to hold parties accountable to their constitution. This is different. This is not about interfering in their internal affairs. No. Interfering in their internal affairs is like the party say they want Mr. A to be chairman, and one person from nowhere comes to say, no, I don't like Mr. A. It has to be Mr. C. But democratically, the party has followed its own constitution. The court will tell you, no, you don't have to interfere in the internal affairs of the political party, and I agree. But when the party, for instance, say they want to organize a convention, there are rules. You give notice to INEC, 21 days, and they say without that notice, it's invalid. Now, assuming they don't honor it, then you want the court to say, no, the law is that you don't interfere in the internal affairs. That means you are making the court now to make law. It's not their duty. The law the legislature made is that if you don't give the 21 notice, it's invalid. The duty of the court is to interpret the law, not to make it. So if you say that the courts have said that they do not interfere in the internal affairs of a political party, and then that means that the political party can do whatever they like. No. That means you're now saying the court should make laws, because that's not what the law says. The court is there to interpret the laws, and the law is that if you do not follow your constitution, if you don't do certain things, the law say it is invalid. So I don't have a problem the courts holding parties accountable to their constitutional rules, but I have a problem when members of a political party want to use the instrumentality of the judiciary to destroy their own party. That's what happened in PDP. Forget all those talk. The reason for all this crisis is that the people in PDP who are in charge of PDP have endorsed Tinubu as their presidential candidate in 2027, and they are using every means, including the courts, to make sure that PDP is destabilized so that they will not have viable candidates to oppose President Tinubu. Let me tell you, isn't it strange that the G5 told you they want to support Tinubu? They supported it in 2023. And from 2023, they say, maybe G4 now or whatever, led by Wike, they say they will support him again in 2027. Is it not strange that they say they will not leave PDP? So why do you think they are still remaining in PDP? They don't want to leave, and PDP will survive again and become a viable party. They say they want to remain in PDP. Isn't it that strange? Wike, for instance, the local government election they had in Rivers State, APC won 20. He now allocated 4 to PDP, and he's still remaining in PDP. And he said he has endorsed the presidential candidate, even when they have made PDP now to cede the endorsement to South. They made PDP to zone the presidency to the South for the 2027. That's why I was telling PDP that they don't have sense. Why don't they have sense? The same people that have told you that have endorsed another president candidate, you're placing them in authority, even to the level of national secretary, where you know that the national secretary can now hold you to ransom. So the issue here is that PDP is dead. And it is because the people that want it dead say they will remain in the party. And the party, sorry to use this word, foolishly allowed them. How can somebody work against the party in 2023 and he say, okay, it's because the party did not do the right thing? Now, they compel the party to zone the ticket to the South. I remember I told PDP, this is not a zoning to the South, it's a zoning to Tinubu. The same people that say zone to the South are the same people again who are cooking up other excuses to make sure that PDP do not present a viable candidate for 2027. The whole idea of saying zone to the South is to cut off the North. Now ADC has come, and ADC will not cut off any section. We are going to do an internal democracy, and we have rotated the presidency between North and South. It was rotated in 2023. In 2027, it will be, because second term is a referendum on the incumbent. The question is your life better in 2023 as it is now? Are we going to give an incumbent who has destroyed our international relations, destroyed our economy, destroyed everything, a second term? If not, who is that Nigerian who has not had any opportunity to destroy Nigeria, who will be given the chance to become the president, wherever he is from? What we need now is deliverance from the incompetence and corruption of the APC. So we are not in a one-party state, because we have a viable opposition now in ADC. And ADC, we are consolidating in every... Remember, when you come into a party, you had the state executive, you have the local government executive, you have the ward executive. So you have to be careful the way you harmonize, because new people are coming in. Otherwise, you will destroy everything. You know, Jesus Christ built a garden, and the disciples came to him and said, Master, you sowed only good seed. How come there are weeds? Let us go and remove the weed. He said, no. While removing the weed, you may remove the plant, because they are all tender. Leave both of them to grow together. When they now get mature, you'll be able to remove the weed without affecting the plant. That's what ADC is doing. ADC is methodical. ADC is intentional and gradual to ensure the harmonization of the executives from the polling unit level, while still running away from the traps set by APC. APC is still chasing us from everywhere, trying to hook us, to give us political backhand. And we are defending ourselves, being very careful. So there is no one-party state in Nigeria. God has destroyed the intention of APC for a one-party state. God has created ADC, and I enjoin every Nigerian to join ADC, because 2027 is going to be the people of Nigeria against the APC. They should forget about these defections and this. I was in APC, and I will tell you that even APC members are not satisfied with APC. They are not. Because what APC does, a governor comes in today in a state, and he now say the governor is the leader. All the people that fought for Tinubu, all, immediately they are sidelined. And the governor they fought against, that was fighting against Tinubu in 2023, they say he's now the leader of the state. Do you think they will keep quiet? No, they will not keep quiet. But the time will come. Tinubu is a one-term president, and ADC is going to form the next government in 2027 by the grace of God.
Let's wrap up this way. The APC now has majority in both the House of Reps and the Senate. What are the opposition doing to checkmate us sliding into totalitarianism?
Good. First of all, APC had always had that super majority from day one. That was when I cancelled in my mind all the opposition. Do you know that the opposition had majority in the House of Representatives when they came in? Yet, they have not opposed any bill. There is no bill that ever, when they were told they were going to be giving SUVs, did you hear any opposition person rise against it? You know what Shetima said? Shetima said that the governor of Enugu State, Governor Peter Amba, has always had his broom hidden under the umbrella. That's an indictment that he has always been an APC member from beginning. So all those people you say that are defective, no, they've always had their broom hidden under the umbrella. They were just waiting for the time. Because there is no opposition in National Assembly. None. Change national anthem within 48 hours. Even though I support this national anthem we're singing now, I support it very well. That was the national anthem. Even when they brought the Arise of Compassion, that was the national anthem we used to go on protest in the university. So students and young people never actually accepted this Arise of Compatriot. No, Nigeria, we held the national anthem that starts with Nigeria. I support it. So, but then the issue is that a Tinubu want tax reforms. You will not see vociferous opposition from the opposition. The people that oppose Tinubu in National Assembly are APC members more than the opposition, except when it comes to the issue of dividing money and dividing position. So there has never been opposition in National Assembly with respect. They've always had the super majority. Tell me one thing that the opposition opposed and won in the National Assembly. So that should not bother any Nigerian, because from the one, APC have always had the super majority in the National Assembly. That's what we call them, photocopy National Assembly. That is without making a difference of whether you're APC, PDP. It's a photocopy. In other words, it's just a duplicate of the executive. So there is no opposition in the National Assembly. Sorry, from the one. And you can see the danger when a party cannot be an opposition party. That is why PDP and LP are dead today. If they had constituted, what I told the members of the House of Assembly when we had a meeting the first time, I said, please stick together among yourselves. Nigeria is not expecting you to win in any bill. But when they see that you are constructive opposition, and that the opposition, when they count the numbers, they will see the 34, they will have confidence in you. And by the next election, they will say you are the preferred party. That if you go there and you join yourself with APC, you will disappear and your political career will be gone. All these people that are going into APC, that's why I told you that APC will implode. They will produce only one candidate. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it happens. But there is no one party in Nigeria. Nigeria cannot be one party. PDP tried it in the past. Even printed one form for Goodluck Jonathan. There were endorsements for Goodluck Jonathan everywhere, but he still lost the election. Tinubu is going to go the way of Jonathan in 2027. He will lose the election, and the ADC will form the next government. The people will rise up and speak, and Tinubu will be gone. Back to body law.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure once again.
God bless
you. Once again, happy birthday.
Thank you very much, and God bless you.